Hey, it's Dr. Schmidt at the Nutritional Healing Center of Ann Arbor. So this is a technical video, and what I want to talk about here is this Metabolic Pathways poster, which I've done. I talked about this more than a year ago, but I've learned some new things, and I want to demonstrate something to you. It's very interesting, at least I think it's interesting. So when you look at this whole poster, it's from Sigma Aldrich. You can Google Sigma Aldrich Metabolic Pathways poster, and you'll get the PDF. That's what this is. So the middle pink section here, that's glycolysis. That's your body burning sugar. And then it makes this pyruvate right here, right in the middle. And then the pyruvate goes into the mitochondria. There's like 3,000 mitochondria per cell, maybe depending on what type of cell, maybe the heart cell might have 8,000. That's the yellow, that's mitochondria. So then you have the Krebs cycle, which is this circle right here. You may have learned about this in school. And you get these electron potentials right here, like electricity going on. Hydrogens moving into the blue section, and the production of energy right here. That's this right there. So the point is, you want to get that pyruvate going, and you want your mitochondria to work well. This is where fat burning happens right here, and here's the ketones. If the mitochondria don't work, if this yellow part doesn't work, you're always going to be burning sugar, and that's not good. So ketosis and fat burning is really important for you to get into, and if you don't, you end up with disease. So how do you get the disease? Well, the pyruvate turns into a few different waste products that are poisonous. Okay, so this one here is lactate, which is lactic acidosis. If your body's fermenting lactate instead of using pyruvate in the mitochondria. And I just want to show you that this is a black arrow. This will be important here in a second. So pyruvate to lactate is black. Then there's a green arrow from pyruvate to acetaldehyde. Acetaldehyde is the hangover feeling after you drink too much alcohol. Headache, nausea, lethargy. You don't want to get out of bed. And the acetaldehyde can turn into ethanol, which is alcohol, and it can also turn into acetate, which is another waste product. So I've had 2 people in the last 2 years very politely tell me that this doesn't happen in the human body. The acetaldehyde ethanol acetate does not form in the human body from the production of pyruvate from burning sugar. So now the green arrow versus the black arrow does make a difference. So let's go to here. This is the legend, this purple box right here. And it says, very small, I'm going to read it to you. It says, human metabolism is identified as far possible by black arrows. So there are other metabolisms represented in this poster. For example, over here, this is what happens in plants. So there's going to be different colored arrows over there. And you got red, and you got orange, and you got brown and purple. So they all mean different things, and it's all different in the legend. So we got carbohydrates are green, proteins are this red font with a pink background, etc. So I had a few people say that these 3 things do not happen in the human body because the arrow is green. Okay, so this is what I really looked into this week, and this is what I figured out. There's a number on the green arrow, and that number is 4.1.1.1. And there's another number on the black arrow, and that is 1.1.1.27. So what do those mean? This poster doesn't tell us what that means, but I know what it means because I bought the large-sized printed poster more than 10 years ago, and I am going to show it to you right now. All right, check out the size of this poster, and let me show you what it says. Okay, we're back to that area right here, and the number 4.1.1.1 is this enzyme over here. Here's all the enzymes on both sides of this poster. It does not show up in the electronic form. You got to get the paper form, but they don't sell this size anymore. They only sell a smaller size, and I don't know if that has the enzymes on the side of it. So 4.1.1.1 is called pyruvate decarboxylase. So the question is, if we have pyruvate decarboxylase in our bodies, then our body will make 4 waste products from burning carbs instead of just 1. The other number I was talking about is an enzyme that takes pyruvate and turns it into lactate and back. It's called lactate dehydrogenase. And this is very easily measured in your blood with a blood test. And if you have low lactate dehydrogenase, which is listed over here, then you can have too much lactate in your blood because it's not being broken down and converted back into pyruvate. So if you want to see if you have lactic acidosis, you can measure in your blood lactate and lactate dehydrogenase. And another blood test is called the anion gap. So back to the task at hand, we're trying to find out when our bodies are burning excessive carbohydrates, do we get 1 or do we get 4 waste products from that? And it all rides on this one enzyme, pyruvate decarboxylase. So I just did a quick Google search, and it says clinical studies of a patient with pyruvate decarboxylase deficiency. That's a genetic SNP. People are born with a deficiency of this enzyme. A boy with a hereditary defect of pyruvate decarboxylase has had intermittent ataxia, meaning he can't walk very well, often with chorioathetosis. I don't know what that is. I need to look that up in a dictionary. Following fever or excitement and lasting several days, but is clinically normal between attacks. Here's another one, in subacute necrotizing encephalomyelopathy, meaning inflammation of the brain and muscles. A partial deficiency of pyruvate decarboxylase was demonstrated in a child with hyperlactatemia. So this kid had too much lactate. That's the chronic disease going on. And progressive ataxia, inability to walk, bulbar paresis, that's a dictionary lookup, ophthalmoplegia, which is an eye problem, and polyneuropathy, so nervous system symptoms throughout his body, many nervous system symptoms. So yeah, our bodies do have pyruvate decarboxylase, and when you don't have it, you get these severe symptoms from head to toe, including inability to walk and severe organ dysfunction. So back to this poster then, I want to demonstrate to you that when you have a buildup of all of these 4 waste products, and then a decrease in mitochondrial function, leading to less and less energy being produced here down at the bottom, that's chronic disease. Now you can have heavy metals stuck in the mitochondria right here, and those heavy metals can poison these 4 white rectangles and squares right here. Those are called cytochromes, and they're part of what's called the electron transport chain. So now I'm giving you the causes of chronic disease. Not only can heavy metals get stuck in here, but also mold or other pathogenic causes. And now up in here, I'm showing you where the sun sends electrons into the cell. And now I mentioned before, this is in plants. And here we have the sun rays combining with manganese, splitting water. So we have H2O becoming O2 here, and then H here. But this oxygen, it goes all the way down to the bottom of the poster, and it goes right into the human mitochondria, and it's used right here to form more energy to make ATP, which is energy. But you can have a problem here where the manganese is deficient because of glyphosate, which is Roundup. So Roundup in the plants causes the manganese to go away, and then you have a loss of oxygen here in the body. And if you have manganese, or if you have Roundup in your body, you can have similar problems where a biochemical pathway is being blocked and you get disease from that. So heavy metals, chemicals, mold, biofilm, biotoxins, infections, they all can block the correct function of the mitochondria. It's not just eating too many carbs causing these 4 waste products and then disease. So if your body's using pyruvate and converting it to lactate, this right here is lactic acidosis, cachexia. This is how people die. Cardiac cachexia, cancer cachexia. It's the usage of lactate over and over. And even if you introduce oxygen into this whole system to facilitate the Krebs cycle, et cetera, even if you have all the right nutrients, but your body's still using lactate for fuel, that's a serious problem. So anyways, I think this is fun information. This is life and death right here. The lactic acid cycle is the same thing as cachexia. Cachexia is how people die. So we can reverse engineer it. And but unfortunately, there is a point where there's no return. Where people, let's say you have a person that weighs 180 pounds, gets cancer, now they weigh 100 pounds 6 months later. Yeah, there's not much hope there. But when you first, when you're still well, you want to do the things to increase the oxygen, increase the mitochondrial function, get into ketosis multiple times, do some fasting, clean your body out, do some detoxification, and that it will help improve your ability to live longer and have less disease as time goes on. All right, if you like this information, please give me a thumbs up, share, subscribe. And if you want to become a patient, you have to look below this video. There's a video description box. You got to click on a button that says show more, or depending on what your device looks like, it might be a down arrow. Click on the arrow, it'll open up that big video description box and you can read through it.